Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to talk to you about note-taking based on different nonfiction text structures. So these are some examples of text structures. And when you're reading nonfiction book, they kind of have different structures that help you learn about that information. Here are some examples: comparing and contrasting. So if they're showing two things that are different, but also things that they have in common, just main idea and details. Here's your main idea and your details. Also chronological. Something that's going to be in order, first, second, third. Now, these are just some examples, and you may use different type of note-taking strategies when note-taking. So I want to show you how I'm going to skim through this book, and I'm going to use different text structures to kind of help me decide which is the best note-taking strategy to use when I'm note-taking, because you don't want to just have every single thing be boxes and bullets, right? It's a really good strategy for note-taking, but it's not the only one. And sometimes it's not the best one to use depending on what you're reading about. So first we're going to take a look at this page. This page talks about all the different types of penguins. And down here, there's information about different types of penguins. So maybe in one of my chapters, I want to have a chapter about the different types of penguins. So maybe I don't need all this information here, but the information under here is really helpful to me. So I might just make a chart like this, like a T-chart. So types of penguins. And then this could be my penguin type. And then here, maybe I'm going to write a fact about that penguin. This is going to be a better note-taking strategy that I would use other than, say, boxes and bullets. Because if I'm only going to use these bits of pieces of information, that doesn't really fit into main idea and detail. Looking at this page, for this one, this is a diagram of a penguin. So usually when I see a diagram, that kind of tells me to do a diagram. So for this one, I'm definitely going to take this information and I'm going to make a diagram. I'm not going to draw a penguin right now because you know how great my skills are. So I'm just going to draw a nice little blob of a penguin right here. And remember, when you're taking notes, you're not copying words. So I'm not just going to write a little line here and say, penguins have a very small, poor sense of smell. Because then I'm just copying what the author wrote. And then that's really plagiarism. And that's writing something that you didn't write and saying that you wrote it. So a big part of note-taking is looking at information, thinking about it, and putting it into your own words. So they don't have a good sense of smell. So I'm just going to write bad sense of smell. That's a way that I can take somebody else's information and put it into my own words, so I'm not copying it. So looking at this page, this is talking about what penguins eat and how they're also hunted. So they're giving me a lot of details. So they're talking about how they're carnivores, how they dive for their prey, how the parts of the body help them hunt. So something like this is telling me main idea, which is how they hunt, and a lot of details for that. So for something that's telling me main idea and details, my favorite note-taking strategy is going to be boxes and bullets. This would be a good strategy that I would use for this kind of page. And then going here in this adorable page, this talks all about how baby penguins are born. And as I was reading it, this was making me think like this first happens, then this happens, then this happens, later this happens. That makes me think of something chronological, which is something that's in order. First, second, third, fourth. So that's going to make me think that that would be a better way to note take for this page. So maybe my title will be how penguins are born. And then there's the first step. I'll write about this picture. Then the second step. Then the third step. And so on and so forth. And again, I'm not just going to copy this information word for word. I'm going to read it, think about it, and then put it into my own words. So as you're note-taking today and every day after this, remember that reading the information in the chapters and thinking about how they're presenting it to you will help you decide which note-taking strategy to use. Another really great one that this book didn't really have, so I didn't really find it necessary, is the compare and contrast. So this would be a really good strategy if, like, say you were comparing and contrasting two different types of penguins, right? Here are my two different types of penguins. This is how they're different, and this is how they're similar, okay? So don't forget to use different note-taking strategies depending on the nonfiction text structures.